So when it comes to calling out players when they need to be called out, I am not going to start this video by saying that I'm a complete prude on this type of stuff. I actually do think that calling out players can be a logical and good thing when it needs to happen. But it kind of depends on what franchise we're talking about. And we are going to get into that. Essentially, my take on this would be, okay, if you're a cup finalist team and maybe they're a team that just got past the first round or they're having some success, or even a team that, generally makes the cup, the cup playoffs, and the players aren't responding to something that the coach is saying in the season, it actually can make sense to call out players. And perhaps I don't know everything that's happening in the Canucks locker room. Obviously, I just don't, right? I'm trying to get an understanding of what is going on with this team. I mean, Rick Tocchet leaving the team, the drama with Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, we're going to get into that. Quinn Hughes saying that he, quote, Rutherford saying that he, quote, wants to play with his brothers, and there's a lot of things out of his control. I mean, these are a lot of really wild things that you generally just don't really hear from as a fan. Usually they like to keep a lot of things in-house and avoid media speculation. And now we have an article today that Canucks are blaming players for lack of preparation. And essentially, Patrick Alvin is linking this to the fact that that is why JT Miller left. Wow, really interesting. Alvin essentially said that JT Miller wanted to make the most out of the rest of his career, obviously, and try to chase the Stanley Cup. It seems like that was a big thing for him that he really cared about. Now, to be fair, though, Miller is known for being a bit of a hothead, but he obviously really, really wants to win the cup, and that is what led to a lot of drama, where Elias Pettersson had an atrocious season by his standards after he got re-signed. Now, I think Elias Pettersson is a lot better than he showed. I'm sure a lot of people that are going to watch this video are going to agree with me 100%. He's way better than this. He just is. And at the end of the day, you look at him and like, why isn't he performing up to his standards? JT Miller and Patrick Alvin are saying, well, it's probably because he was unprepared coming into the season, and there might be truth to that. Now, here's the thing. They didn't specifically mention Elias Pettersson, his name specifically, in this article for what I'm saying. I think that's generally a good thing. I don't think that they want to directly call out Elias Pettersson directly. I don't know. You can give me your opinion. I don't think that they should do that. They want this kid to come back. They want him to be motivated. They want him to be prepared. I didn't know that he had issues with this. I'm assuming it's Elias Pettersson because that's why JT Miller left, and we know the player that JT Miller had the most drama with which is Elias Pettersson. Like that's just a fact. Now, to be fair, in this article, they pointed to that being as a, quote, part as to why JT Miller actually left the franchise. So that's not completely why it is, but that's partly why it is. I would imagine that the other part would probably be because they just weren't competing. Like, for example, at the end of the day, if they were just a really skilled group of players, like let's say you had 6 Phil Kessels up in your forward group, they eat hot dogs all day and donuts, but they're still competing. You understand what I mean? Like, who cares? At the end of the day, JT Miller just wanted to compete. And at the end of the day, when you're not competing, you're going to grasp for everything. I'm not saying there's not a point that the young players need to come more prepared for the Vancouver Canucks, but I think that there's more to this. At the end of the day, it's like you're just not winning. Like you can get a bunch of absolute bumpkins in that look like a bunch of homeless dudes. There's a lot of players that really don't actually work out that hard that are like pretty damn skilled players. I remember Alexander Semin was one of them. He was a really skilled player. And I don't think he really won much, but at the end of the day, he was a really skilled and talented player that a lot of players would point to and say, man, if this guy just actually put the work in, he would be 10 times better. I'm really hoping Elias Pettersson isn't one of them, because you want a player with a high level of work ethic. Now, the article continues to go on talking about how, it's the classic Canucks saying things through the media that they might not want to. I want to know your opinion in this video. Should the Canucks not have actually said this? Should they have said this? I'm on the fence with this one. I think that they might keep this in-house, but at the same time, we don't really know every single thing that was happening with the Canucks. It could be that they've tried everything with Elias Pettersson. They've tried everything, talking to him, and he's just not getting it, right? So maybe we don't really know exactly what's happening, and they already have tried that. And now you have Rick Tocchet leaving too, and this article is talking about like maybe that's why Rick Tocchet left as well. I would hope not, man. But again, when players and important players and coaches start leaving on your franchise, that is an indictment. And the GM starts saying stuff like this, and then you have Rutherford talking about the fact that, hey, Quinn Hughes wants to play with his brothers. It's like, it just feels like things are falling apart here. I am so interested in what Vancouver is going to do in this offseason. I personally have no idea. I'm right on the fence. Should they try to patch things up and come back next season? Should they just try to trade Quinn Hughes if they know that he's not going to come back? What is the most logical choice? If they don't think that he can come back, it might actually make some sense just to move on from him. Not that I want them to move on from him. I'm saying that it might make the most logical sense, if you understand what I mean. I mean, let's be clear. If you traded Quinn Hughes, you could get a buttload for him. You could get a ton of things to help you, not necessarily rebuild, but make your team look a little bit different. I think that they should be ready to do anything. I think that they should be ready to make moves at the draft. I think that they need to be ready and prepared to make moves if it makes sense, right? If there's a way that can change your team up and you can make a change, I think that they should just do it personally, in my opinion. But I'd like you guys to drop your opinions below. Anyways, I am going to leave this video here. If you could make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that, guys. And make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.